When they sent me the script, I thought, here is a woman with a lot more to her than I remember from the tabloid.
What would make a 36-year-old woman have an affair with a 7th grader?
People, they like see me as a victim. I wanted it.
You're doing this story that's based on a true story. It's based on the Mary Kay Letourneau story. And at the same time, it's very meta, right? So you have these incredibly strong, amazing characters. And the way that you built off of each other, the way that you morphed into you. I was so curious watching that. Like, were those decisions that you made to mirror each other happen before you started filming, or did it just evolve on set?
We didn't have the luxury of rehearsal, unfortunately. Yeah. So it really was something that evolved on set, and I felt very lucky. I mean, Julie's just a genius actress, but she's also like the warmest, most generous person, and she made incredible choices with her character that allowed me, luckily, to like quickly latch onto, you know, for example, the voice. Like there were things that I immediately knew that I could morph into. So we figured it out on the run.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting about this kind of, first of all, it's also inspired by the story. It's not like based on it. So it's just like there are elements that we kind of took and built on. And so when you're building a character that someone else is going to be kind of copying or, you know, or mimicking, you actually have a responsibility as an actor to have some qualities that they can mimic, right? So it's an interesting kind of thing. I was actually talking to my son about this because he was like, why did you do that? And I said, well, I was doing something for the character because she has sort of a childlike presentation, so I really like that element. I said, I also needed to do something that Natalie could copy. And he was like, oh!
But it's very generous, because not everyone would have, like, you could have made just choices that were like, you know, to do it like very, you know, in a way. Yeah, exactly. So that I could never. I mean, it was very, very generous choices.
But you know, you're working as like I think what was wonderful about working with Natalie is that we were very much a team. You know, I think we came in to work on this film to tell the story of this relationship and who these women are, in all of their admiration for one another, in all their combativeness, and all of the strange intimacy and the similarities and the differences. And so doing that was very exciting for me as an actor, to have a partner and to build something that we were able to build together.
Feels like things just settled down and now y'all are making a movie.
It's a very complex and human story.
I think it's hard to trust that you're going to represent Gracie as she was.
I'm going to try.
I want to start from the beginning with you. And what made you want to tell this story?
Well, this story was something that was fashioned into this remarkable script by Samy Burch. And the script got to Natalie Portman, and Natalie Portman got it to me. So it was already a pretty, you know, elevated method in which it came to me. So I read it in the midst of COVID, so I was reading a lot of stuff. But man, the script just made such an impression. And it has such an interesting tone on the page. It doesn't exert a strong stylistic approach on the page, and which almost leaves you more to your own devices as a reader, and you're made quite uncomfortable as you're interpreting your way through it. So I felt like I wanted to bring all that to a screen interpretation, but give it a stronger stylistic or tonal framing that let you know that that's exactly what we wanted you to do, to be questioning the content that you're watching.
For you, your character, what a ride. What were some of the challenges for you with Joe?
It's hard to, there's a lot of preparation that went into Joe, but it's really hard I had the best team and collaborators. I had the best director, in Todd, and the best scene partners in Julie and Natalie. And, it really came down to me understanding who this man was and looking at his experience. It's such an immense responsibility at such a young age, and, being a loving father, a loving husband, and just, really giving his kids and his family this life that he really wasn't afforded himself. And just watching through the film, like, in these, in the 2 hours, just kind of Joe just really kind of breaking from that cocoon and just really acknowledging his own experience, his repressed kind of internal thing.
Why would you want to play someone who you think is a bad person?
It's the moral gray areas that are interesting.
She's getting on my last nerve. She's just everywhere I look.